Hello everyone, I'm Suman Dua, a registered migration agent at Nationwide Migration and Education. We make weekly videos regarding Australian migration, and if you're interested in this topic, you may want to subscribe to our channel. Now today's video will discuss South Australia's nomination criteria for the visa subclasses 190 and 491 for the 2023-24 financial year. South Australia has moved to a registration of interest process, also known as ROI, to manage strong demand from potential applicants living and working in the state against a limited allocation of nomination places. This means potential applicants must submit a ROI and be invited to apply for state nomination by South Australia. Potential applicants cannot apply for state nomination directly. Under this invitation process, South Australia will prioritize the retention of South Australia's international graduates and temporary visa holders. Experienced overseas workers with skills in high demand in South Australia, such as trades and construction, defence, health, education, natural and physical science, and social and welfare professionals, will be targeted through invitations to apply for South Australian nomination. Now, South Australia is also seeking highly skilled overseas workers who can make a strong contribution to the state's fast-growing industries and projects of national priority. This includes people with experience working in the defense industry or highly specialized skills in the digital and critical technology sectors. International graduates and other temporary visa holders continue to be considered across a broad list of occupations consistent with the previous years, while there are over 290 occupations open to offshore skilled workers. Now, South Australia has received 1,100 places for 190 and 1,200 places for 491 visa nomination. There are 4 nomination streams for skilled migrants seeking to live and work in South Australia. So these streams are South Australian graduates, working in South Australia, highly skilled and talented, and offshore. In this video, we will be covering 2 nomination streams, highly skilled and talented and offshore stream. We have already made a separate video for the other 2 streams, which are South Australian graduates and working in South Australia. To be eligible for South Australia's nomination, you must meet the Australian Department of Home Affairs and South Australia's criteria for your chosen visa category. The Home Affairs criteria requires you to have a points test result of 65 or higher, inclusive of state nomination points, have a positive skills assessment in your nominated occupation, be under 45 years of age, meet the minimum English language requirement of competent unless a higher level is required by your assessing authority. So once you have met this criteria, you will have to meet the additional criteria for their nomination streams. So let's look at the third nomination stream, which is highly skilled and talented. If you're a highly skilled migrant who can contribute your demonstrated talent or support innovation in South Australia, you can register your interest in state nomination under this pathway. Candidates may include skilled migrants living in South Australia, other Australian states and territories, and offshore. The highly skilled and talented stream also allows the South Australian government to nominate applicants who can contribute to the state's critical priority sectors. Successful applicants will demonstrate how they bring new ideas, skills, and innovation to South Australia. To be eligible under the highly skilled and talented stream, you must currently live and work in South Australia, interstate or overseas. And if you're working or offered a position in South Australia, your employer must have been an existing business for at least 12 months. Your employer must have had a premise located and operating in South Australia for the past 12 months. They must have annual turnover of at least $4 million. Now, please note that startup companies may be exempt from the annual turnover requirement, and businesses that operate in outer regional South Australia may be exempt from the annual turnover requirement. Now, the businesses that support the defense sector may be exempt from the annual turnover requirement. The business must be of good standing and there must be no adverse information about the business. If you are an applicant with high-tech or digital industry experience, then in addition to meeting the general eligibility requirements that I have just mentioned, you must have at least 2 years experience in one of the critical technology professions listed below. Your experience can be from South Australia, interstate or overseas. So these professions are artificial intelligence specialist, cyber security analyst, data scientist, robotics engineer, cloud architect, Internet of Things specialist, blockchain developer, renewable energy engineer, AR virtual reality developer, biotechnology researcher, quantum computing scientist, 5G network engineer, advanced manufacturer. If you're an applicant with defense or space industry experience, in addition to meeting the general eligibility that I mentioned before, you must meet the requirements listed below, which are that if you're in South Australia, you must have already commenced employment in South Australia in an organization that directly operates in or is an integral part of the supply chain supporting the defense or space industry. You must be currently working full-time, which is at least 30 hours per week in South Australia. And if you are overseas or interstate, you must demonstrate that you have experience working in a high-skilled role in the defense or space industry, and you must intend to relocate to South Australia to work in the defense or space industry. Now let's look at the fourth nomination stream, which is for offshore applicants. So if you are currently residing offshore and seeking to move to South Australia, the first step is to use Skill Select to make an expression of interest, also known as EOI. And you must select South Australia as your first preferred state or territory to move to in Australia. Once you submit your EOI, the South Australian government can view your application and they may decide to invite you to apply for state nomination for the 190 or for the 491 visa subclasses. South Australia will be assessing candidates on merit by the following factors within their nominated occupation. It could be years and field of skilled employment, your English language ability, and the EOI points. If you are selected to apply for South Australia nomination, you will have 14 days to submit your application. Your application must demonstrate that you were eligible for the claims entered in your Skill Select EOI at the time of invitation. So please ensure all the information in your Skill Select EOI is up to date. If you are an applicant in a priority nominated occupation, you may be selected to apply for the skilled nominated subclass 190, which would allow you to live and work in South Australia indefinitely. For South Australian state nomination, you must also meet the Department of Home Affairs visa requirements, state-specific occupation requirements, and have skills in an occupation that is available on South Australia's skilled occupation list. If you have any questions regarding your visa options, please book a consultation through the link in the description below. If you have any questions in regards to Australian migration, please get in touch with us. You can visit our website nationwidemigration.com.au and book a consultation online. If you would like to stay updated about Australian migration, please subscribe to our channel.